Hello everyone, and today we're going to discuss even more 4.0 stat changes which have been data mined. Now, again, data mined stuff we tend to take not really as read. Again, there could still be changes, so again, bear that in mind. Also, I'm reading here that the Star Wars Battlefront, if you buy Star Wars Battlefront, you will get some rewards in SWTOR. You're going to get the Ashfall Tauntaun and the thermal retention suit. Now, these are already available in the cartel market right now. So it's going to be Hoth inspired things that you get for buying it. Now, they've not really said how we're going to get this. Whether it's going to be linked to your Origin account or not. Because my Origin account and my SWTOR account, two different account logins I've got for SWTOR and Origin, so I'm guessing it's the PC version, although it would be interesting if they put it with all the versions, like the console versions as well. Just put it as a little leaflet inside the disc with the code, hey, come play Star Wars The Old Republic and get these free items, because it's free advertising if you think about it. Just put the code and just make it a code, go to swotor.com and register, put in the code. And, you know, hopefully, because again, it's good advertising. It's good to see things like that. These items they're all available in the cartel market right now. Okay, you can get the thermal retention suit and the Ashfall Tauntaun. So none of these things are new. None of these things are new. But anyway, we're here to look at some of the crafting changes, some of the stat changes, and some of the gearing changes as well that we're going to look at. So we'll get to that. So all classes will use the same main stat. Mastery is here to stay. Aim, cunning, strength, willpower, all those things will be replaced with mastery. So if you had 200 willpower in the thing, it will be 200 mastery now in an item. So all your willpower will just be converted to mastery. A lot of people complaining about this. I don't see what difference it makes, to be honest with you. I honestly don't really see the difference that it makes, because to be honest, we just ignored our main stat anyway. Really? I mean, if you were going from a piece of gear that was resurrected to Revanite and you got the Revanite drop, say you got a resurrected implant and you got a Revanite implant, it was taken as read that it would have more cunning in it, for example. You know, it would have more cunning. So it doesn't make any difference, really. Does it matter if you're replacing cunning with mastery? It's just a word, essentially. I imagine it'll still have the same effect. It's going to be the same effect as cunning, so I imagine it'll just be the same thing. So does it really matter? Does it really make any difference? What this does do is it makes it easier for new players, because we saw a lot of people, Jedi Knights, running around thinking cunning improved their light side, dark side points gain beforehand. So yeah, mastery, it seems to be in. We've seen a few items with mastery in them. A few items here that have been data mined. We've seen there's a chest piece here. It's got endurance, power, crit rating, mastery, and that leads us to crit rating. Critical rating is being changed. Surge rating is being removed. Surge essentially is being removed. Crit and surge is being rolled into one stat. So crit is going to be crit and surge. Okay, so they're just merging crit and surge into one stat. Why don't they call it crudge rating? Why don't they call it that? Crit surge. Yeah, that's what they should have called it. Its critical rating is going to be a tertiary stat now instead of a secondary stat, so it's going to be on the enhancements instead of the mods, basically. So I guess we've only got one secondary stat now, and that's power. So yeah, crit and surge being rolled into one. It makes sense. Makes sense if you think about it. Because having crit compete with power didn't make any sense. Because bear in mind that power was a certainty for damage increase. Crit just decreased the, or it just was an RNG thing. Crit, that's all crit is. So, you know, 1% power gave you a bit more damage. Didn't give you 1% more damage, because I don't think it related 1-to-1 to damage. But 1% crit rating gave you 1%, you know, more chance of a random crit chance. So most people tend to stick with power rather than crit. So again, taking it into the tertiary stat means it's not competing with power. We can get, there is an item that again we're looking at here. It is a level 64 thing, item rating 208. it has power and crit in it. You know, so we can have that power and crit now. Essentially replacing power surge. Essentially, so it makes sense. There's no word on alacrity. No word on alacrity. So, I guess alacrity will stay. No word on accuracy either. So I don't know about any of them, really. A lot of crafting materials are going to be obsolete. Crafting is getting basically lowered. There's 11 grades of crafting skill. The crafting is going down to basically grade 8 now. It's being traded for 8 tiers, essentially. So grade 8, grade 11 is going to become grade 8, essentially, at end game. So I guess the highest item level you can craft is, what, 200? According to this, although there is 208 things, but I'm guessing that's what it means by level range for grade 8. But yeah, they're making it a bit more useful. I mean, grade 1 was level 1 to 9, and we learned grade 1 things at level 10, so that was the biggest problem with that. Now it's 1 to 16, for example, so at least might be more useful while leveling. At least a lot of things going, a lot of bioanalysis things going. A lot of the grade 4, grade 9 stuff, I'll better get rid of it all. Better just vendor it now, because no one's going to want to buy it on the GTN. Same with the scavenging, you know, things like the laminoid, aluminium, your biological compounding chemical. There's a big list. I'll put a link in the description to see the list of all the things. All the biochem vendor stuff, all the implant processors are going as well. So they're all going. Enriched Durasteel's going. A lot of things are going. So what's going to happen is you're going to now need an armor assembly component as well. Okay, and armor assembly components are the things that are going to be crafted. So they're going to require crafting materials. The new things that are coming in is Strategic Resource Matrix, which is going to be your personal conquest goal, which seems to be a replacement for the transmobilitator and the mass manipulation generator. Seems to be just the purple crafting material. And hard mode flashpoints are going to give you exotic isotope stabilizer, which is the replacement for Exonium. Yeah, it's got the same icon in the data mine stuff as Exonium. So to craft things, we're going to need 12 isotope. This is the example thing, is an Onslaught Jacket, level 64. It's going to need Underworld Metal, grade 8. It's going to need 12 exotic isotope stabilizers and 12 armor assembly components. You're going to have to craft the armor assembly components, which are going to be craftable from things like grade 8 green things. Or basically, it's the grade 8 green items that you're going to do. So you're going to craft the armor assembly component, and then you're going to have to get the blue materials to craft the armor piece, for example. Item rating 208, this armor piece is, so already it's quite a bit better. I mean, it has less power than Revanite stuff in it. But again, we don't know what power is going to be doing in the next expansion anyway. So again, it has a bit less, because it's 171 power in a Revanite piece, and it's 154 power, so bear in mind this is blue. It's an armors tech thing that is going to require. The changes to mods, basically there's only going to be 2 types, by the looks of it, 2 types of armoring, I guess. I don't know if they're going to be, because of adaptive armor, I guess they're just going to have 2 types. So you've got basically resistive and versatile are the 2 types of things. Same with barrels and hilts, resistive and versatile. You're only going to have 1 hilt and 1 barrel. So if you're a smuggler or a bounty hunter, you're just going to, and you're a healer or DPS, you're just going to take the versatile one. The versatile one has less endurance, more mastery, and the resistive one has more endurance, less mastery in it. So again, makes it a bit easier to craft things, I guess. They're trying to make it a little bit easier. Same with the hilts, because it was always a pain in the arse for Sage. Willpower hilts cost a lot. Now the examples that they've got here they're only examples, not a couple of examples. They're 43. Sorry about They are 43. Advanced versatile armoring 43. I think 38 is the highest now. Highest armoring you can get. I don't know what the highest barrel you can get. It's 2, what is it? 206. The highest barrel is 220. This is going to be level 65 end game gear. The enhancements, of course, are going to be they've got power crit on them, so it's power surge essentially. What it was. You still got defense by the looks of things. I guess we'll still have shield and absorb. I guess I don't know if they'll roll them together. For the tanks, it hasn't been seen. There's no augments or earpieces or implants or anything like that available yet. Or it's not been data mined yet, at least. So there's only going to be, by the looks of things, one barrel that you're going to get. You're just going to buy a versatile barrel. Theoretically, this means that a class can share all of these armorings. Really, that every single class that you've got, every single DPS and healer class can share the versatile armoring. Of course, the set bonuses when we get the tier pieces, when we get into tier pieces, are going to be different, and of course the enhancements for optimization are going to be different, but it does seem like we've got lethal and warding mods are the two mods. Again, power master, endurance, power mastery is going to be the 3 stats. There's no word yet on alacrity or accuracy, so I don't know. Maybe if it made accuracy a secondary stat, then we could stack more of it. Maybe that would be a good thing, I guess. But I don't know what they're doing with accuracy yet. None of that's been released, so it's just a little bit there's just a little sample here. It's not an exhaustive list, they've said in the thing. I'll put a link to it in the description, you can check it out. But it looks like it's going to be much easier to gear alts. Certainly, I mean, enhancements, different classes need different amounts of surge or alacrity, obviously. So if you're min-maxing, you're not going to have a commando healer have the same as a scoundrel healer, for example, or again, a vanguard tank have the same as a guardian tank. So I imagine DPS might be similar, I'd imagine. But again, for tanks and healers, min-maxing, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what we do with it, because theoretically we can. Obviously set bonuses are going to change that, because set bonuses will be specific to each class, I imagine. They have said with the raid tier sets that you will get gear for your class when they drop, so I imagine the set PCs will make them unique to each class, although there's nothing to really stop us from sending a new level 65 vault and slapping on, say, commando DPS gear to a sage, because it's the same stats, really. And if you're just gearing that sage and going through story mode ops, maybe it might work out. Maybe it'll be bound to the commando. Maybe I imagine that will be. But it would be quite interesting to see where they go with the stats. I mean, overall, the stat changes make sense. Okay, they make sense. I like the idea of rolling crit into surge, because it makes crit useful. We've essentially just made critical rating useful. That's all they've done. Some people didn't like it, some people complaining. Mastery, I don't have a problem with it. It doesn't really matter what the stat is. You can call it anything you want, to be honest with you. But it does stop us seeing power techs going around with cunning gear and things like that. It stops people. Essentially, people are saying that it'll create a system where everyone's going to need on gear. But that system's already in place, because the gear everybody wants, the unassembled gear, you know, the tier PCs, the resurrected and the Revenite PCs, everyone rolls on them anyway. You know, it's not going to change. It's not going to change for raiding. I don't think it's going to be a big change to the game, honestly, because again, tier PCs, the desirable PCs are unassembled. Okay, they're all unassembled. And gearing and flashpoints, do we really care? Because we could probably just buy gear for basic comms anyway. We get showered with basic comms while leveling anyway, so does it really matter if we don't win a level 24 piece? No, not really, because we could always just go and buy the same similar gear for basic comms. It doesn't matter anyway, because in a couple of levels time that'll be obsolete. So for leveling, I don't see what the problem is. But anyway, good thing overall, these changes. I don't think they're going to be too significant in terms of, we need to see what they're going to do with alacrity and accuracy, because accuracy is the big stat for DPS that we want to see. And the tanking stats, we've seen defense is still in the games. I don't know what they'll do with shield and absorb. I think they'll keep shield and absorb, because bear in mind there's 3 tank classes, and all three of them prioritize the stats in different ways. So I think they'll probably keep them the same. So anyway, that is all for this video. So thank you for joining me, and we'll see you again soon, and goodbye.